Hello and welcome. You are now looking at the welcome screen from the Quicken personal financial software being used on the desktop. And you'll notice on the welcome screen that if you have an older version, you'll be asked by Quicken in order to create a new ID. There used to be a time when this software was actually owned by a company called Intuit, and the differences are worth talking about. In the 2016 edition, Quicken was actually owned by the company Intuit, and the software ran on Windows and the Mac. You may notice that the 2017 edition is no longer being advertised as being owned by Intuit. In fact, if you were to go and purchase that edition now, you may not be able to find it. One of the other differences that you may note is that in 2017, Quicken had a separate edition for those who owned rental property. And this was actually run as a separate version of Quicken, and someone would have had to purchase that edition in order to get the conveniences of the menus and the categories. However, as of the recording of this video, Quicken is now a subscription service. And you'll notice that you would be able to go to the Quicken website, you would be able to purchase Quicken home, business, and rental property all in one unit, and you'd be able to purchase by downloading this particular package. The reason for this is that Intuit actually sold the Quicken software to a private equity firm in 2016. That meant then that the company that has always been very closely related to it, Intuit, which actually owns the software TurboTax and Quickbooks, as well as the Mint website, continues to run as a separate entity and separate from Quicken. This is why, depending on which version that you actually have, you may be asked to recreate an ID in order to get started using your desktop software. Now, if that's the case and you have trouble with this process, you'll notice that there is a support number at the bottom of the page, but you can go ahead and get started by creating a new Quicken ID even if you have an Intuit ID already. Once you have created your ID, you will be asked to sign in to the software, and we will do that right now. Now, one final step that you'll be asked to take is you'll be asked to enter, if you have one, an Intuit ID. Now, again, if you don't have one, then you won't need to actually go through this process, but if you have a previous ID that you created with Intuit, maybe you used TurboTax, or maybe you used a previous version of Quicken, you'll need to have that ID ready in order to place into this password box. Now, when you place that password, you'll be asked to create a new password for the Quicken Vault. And so once you create your password, then you'll click OK. Now, one aspect of the process is that you will then be able to set up your mobile application in order to sync with what you're doing on your desktop with Quicken. And in order to do that, you'll need to go through a step on this page, and then you'll click Next. Once you've completed this password process, you will then be ready to start using Quicken. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.